Alright, so in this video I'm going to bring you a deck profile of a totally original deck that I'm calling Kaiju Synchro. And this deck is designed as basically an anti-Performapal deck. I had that deck in mind when I was making this, so this is made entirely to counter that. And it does it fairly well. A big part of the deck is you can really easily make Naturia Beast. The main problem, however, with the deck has been that level 5 synchros are really bad except for Naturia Beast. And when I go up against decks where Naturia Beast isn't good, I don't really have anything to do with my level 5 synchros that I can make. So if one of you guys can figure out that problem and fix it, then I think this deck could potentially be really good. But at the moment, I don't think it's viable because sometimes you can struggle against the rogue non-pendulum decks. You have a good matchup against any pendulum deck, though. I actually played this at a regional the past weekend, but I scrubbed out because I played against all rogue decks. So, oh well. Anyways, one of my friends was playing this deck, and he posted a duel with it, and I'll include a link in this annotation right here so you can click on that, or you can find a link down in the description below. And while the video is mostly showing off just how good Max C is, I do think that the video is good at showing off the deck in two aspects. The first being it shows off some of the extensive plays that you can make with the deck, and the second being that it shows how the deck can easily break really strong boards, which is one of the things that the deck has going for it. So to continue into the deck profile, so you play 6 Kaijus. You play 3 Humongous, 2 Radiant, and 1 Jizukuro. So I'm not playing the field spells because I don't want my opponent to have effects when I give them Kaijus. So I'm not playing any of these for the effects, I'm just playing them for the stats. These 5 are level 7s, so that's why I'm playing them. And I'm playing 3 of this one because it has lower attack. And I'm playing this one just because it has the most attack out of any of the Kaijus. That's really the only reason I'm playing them. I'm playing level 7 specifically because I can use them with Sacred Sword of 7 stars, and I'm not using level 8 because these guys plus level 1 tuners makes level 8 synchros, and there aren't any good 2 material level 9s, so level 8 doesn't really work. Also, this plus a 3 makes Leo, so Leo's pretty good also. And then I'm running a Perform Mage Engine, 2 Hat Tricker and 2 Damage Juggler. So Hat Tricker is pretty much the easiest level 4 Earth monster to summon, so that's the main reason why I'm playing it. And also Damage Juggler is good in general, so that's why I'm playing that. And playing both of these really helps your first turn Naturia Beast plays, because if you have Foolish Burial or a 1-for-1 or something that discards this to the grave, then you can banish this and search this, which helps a lot with your consistency. And then the next part, I am playing 2 Clifford Disc and 1 Clifford Cephalopod. These don't really matter at all, except for the fact that when they're in the hand, they're level 7, so it increases the amount of level 7s you have for Sacred Sword. And when you summon them to the field, they become level 4 Earths, so it also, at the same time, increases the amount of level 4 Earth monsters you have for making Naturia Beast. So that really helps your consistency. Also, with these, you can play Wavering Eyes and have something to search, which is really good if you're playing against pendulums. And then for the tuners, you play 1 Globe Ball because it's the best level 1 Earth tuner, 1 Recover, and then 1 Psychic Commander because you're playing Emergency Teleports, which is the easiest way to special summon a level 1 Earth. And then this gives you good flexibility. It lets you make level 7s, which is extremely good. And then also Leo, which comes up, especially against Burning Abyss. Leo is good. And then to finish out the monsters, I play 3 Max T, because Max T is good right now. Though I really hate against Performapal, if you use this, they'll stop their turn, and you won't get any draws out of it. But at the same time, stopping their turn when they're about to go off is really good because it's a -1, but it gives you a chance to try to establish something like a Naturia Beast that they can't get around. And if they go off, you usually just lose. So I feel like this is a lot like Droll and Larkbird against that deck, except for this is way better than it. And also, I want to point out that this plus Emergency Teleport is a Naturia Beast because it's a level 2 Earth, and then Psychic Commander's level 3. So that does come up, and it definitely helps your consistency for making first turn Naturia Beast. You make first turn Naturia Beast more often than you don't, from my drawing practice hands. And then for the spells, 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. This is a big reason why I wanted to play Kaijus. This is just a really powerful card, and I wouldn't have played them without this, honestly. This is basically a better Dark Hole or a Regeki, because take out your opponent's entire board, and then you can summon this to your side of the field. You also give your opponent a big monster, but you'll just attack over it with this. And the 3300 beater is actually really good. Also, you can banish this later to search a Kaiju, which, if you have Sacred Sword of 7 stars, can be helpful. And it's also helpful. The other main reason I wanted to play the Kaijus at all was because these things are outs to so many things that are problematic, like Cyber Dragon Infinity, Traptrix Ophagia, Cosmo Ships, Majesty's Fiend. Like, they're outs to so many things. Like, Vanity's Fiend is one of the few things that they're not an out to. Continuing the spells, 3 Sacred Sword of 7 stars, boost the consistency. Sometimes you draw 2 at the same time, which kind of sucks, because you can only activate 1 per turn, but you generally have a level 7 for these, and draw power is nice. Then I'm playing Triple Emergency Teleport, because this card is really good for making synchro plays. And then I am playing Triple Twin Twister. This is good back row hate. It's also good at pendulum hate because it destroyed the pendulum skills, obviously. I think this is really good right now, especially with the Solemn Strikes making traps much more powerful than they used to be. Also, it's not that difficult to have extra discard fodder in this deck. You can search Kaijus off of this to pitch for Twin Twister, and that's basically free. And you can also pitch Glow Up Bulb for free, and you can also pitch Damage Juggler for free. So there's quite a bit of tribute fodder. Also, if you have extra dead cards in your hand, you can ditch those. So it's not too bad getting extra discard fodder. And then to round out the spells, I got the 1-ofs 1-for-1 and Foolish Burial, which are mainly really good ways to get to your Glow Up Bulb. And then for the traps, I'm running 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Solemn Strike, 1 Grand Horn of Heaven, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. So both of these 2 cards would be Solemn Strikes if I owned 3, but I only own 1. To be honest, these cards work almost as well as this. They stop essentially the same stuff. And you're playing these 4 because ideally you want to have a Naturia Beast backed up by at least just one of these. If you can have just one, then you will usually be able to protect your Naturia Beast because it's tough for Pendulum players to make more than 1 rank 4. And that's their go-to out for an opposing Naturia Beast or an anti-spell fragrance, something like that. So you just need to have something to stop the rank 4 play, basically. And these all fit the bill for that. And I think they're all perfectly fine at that. I don't think there's any reason to break the bank for this if you don't have the money for it. It is good, but the other ones work well enough in this deck for what you're trying to do. And then Floodgate traps I'm playing, 1 Vanity's Emptiness, and then 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance in the main deck. So I do play against a lot of Pendulum stuff, and this in the main deck is really strong because this is basically the same thing as the Naturia Beast. It forces them to out it, and if they can't, then they lose. And they go for rank 4 so you get rid of this usually, unless they have a Twin Twister. If they do have Twin Twisters, though, you can just snipe it with your own Twin Twisters. It's good to if you have this, Twin Twister is really good to take out any cards that they set, because a lot of times it will be their own back row hate. And then this is really good also. This is really good at backing up Naturia Beast especially. That's it for the main deck. So for the extra deck, level 5s, you've got 2 Naturia Beast and then 1 Armades. Naturia Beast is easily the best. It's the only good level 5 synchro, which is unfortunate for this deck. I think that's the main weakness. But this is extremely good against pendulum decks. And then Armades is okay. You can make this against like Burning Abyss if they have monsters set. You can attack over them; they don't get their effects. It does not get over Dante, which is problematic for it. I think this is just okay. I'm only really playing it because it's like I need to replace something, but it's not really very good. Level 7s, these are really good. So you've got 1 Black Rose, 1 Moonlight Rose, and then 1 Arcanite. So both Hat Tricker and Damage Juggler are spellcasters to make this. This is the best one because nuking the field right now is really good against almost everything. This is good for putting your Kaijus back in your hand after you trip your opponent's monsters. So I like this one a lot, in this deck especially. And then this can get rid of 2 cards if you don't want to blow up the field because you have stuff set. For level 8s, we've got a Stardust Dragon, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. So, I think this is probably the best level 8 synchro right now. This is really good again, because there's so much destruction going on. Especially with like Wavering Eyes and Pendulum Sorcerer trying to destroy their own stuff. This is really good at stopping stuff like that. Better than Stardust Spark for sure. And then this is the best removal. This is really good for OTKs and stuff. You can clear the entire board, do 500 damage for each thing you blow up, and then attack still with everything. This is really good. And then the only reason I'm playing this is because this can't blow up stuff that has more attack than it. And your opponent does have monsters a lot that have more attack than this. Like a surprising amount of time that comes up. And part of that is because sometimes you have to give them this, which has 3,300 attack, and then give yourself a level 7 and go for a level 8 synchro. And that will come up if either Humongous or Radiant has no more copies in deck. And then you can do like 3,000 damage if you do that play, which could be enough depending on the situation at that time. For 9s, I'm running 1 Trishula. So Trishula is obviously really good against a lot of decks that this deck isn't quite the best against. Things like Infernoid and Burning Abyss and Cosmo. This is really good, and those are some of the more difficult matchups in my opinion. And then 1 Leo, because Leos can be really good against specific matchups. And for the Exceeds, we've got 1 Castel, best rank 4 still. 1 Abyss Dweller, really good against Burning Abyss, which is relevant. And then 1 Emerald is the last generic. This can reset your Kaiju stuff. If you're out of Kaijus in the deck, you can put them back in, so you can use the Kaiju Slumber again. Stuff like that. It's kind of situational though. And then last one is 1 Trapeze Magician, because Hat Tricker and Damage Juggler are spellcasters, so this is good for OTKs and stuff, obviously. Especially if you have something like this, making this attack twice, which can be pretty crazy in terms of damage. For the side deck, I am running 3 Denko Sekkas. I'm not running too many traps. You can easily side them out to put these in. It's really good against stuff like Satellar Knights or Burning Abyss. Stuff that plays a lot of traps. And then I'm running 2 Necro Valleys. This is good against mostly Burning Abyss, but it also doubles because it's also good against stuff like Satellar Knights. And it's good against Infernoids, and it's good against Cosmo. So this hits like almost everything that's not pendulums. So I like it because it just hits such a wide berth of things. Triple Wavering Eyes, because this is really good to play against anything that's pendulum. Just blow up both of their scales and then search a Cliffort, which is nice. It's like a +2. And then one Pendulum Storm. I like this one. I'm going second against Pendulum decks because a lot of times they'll have their scales. I can break their scale and then blow up like a Solemn Strike or a Twin Twister or something like that. And then triple Mistake. I don't really search very much in this deck. The only things that do search are the Damage Juggler searches and the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber searches. But those are both secondary effects. They do other stuff before searching. So this hurts a lot of stuff way more than it hurts me. And then the third Anti-Spell Fragrance. I only main deck 2 because there's much less chance of drawing doubles against decks that do not play pendulums. But usually you want all 3 against pendulum decks. And then I'm citing 1 Macro Cosmos and 1 Soul Drain for like Burning Abyss and Cosmo and Infernoids, all that stuff. Well, this you don't side against Infernoids because it doesn't do anything to them. But you side both against the Burning Abyss and Cosmo, and you side this against Infernoids. I wish you could play more Macrocosmos. I'm not siding Dimensional Fissure because it does not really affect Burning Abyss, which is probably the best out of those decks at the moment, being a good Pendulum counter deck and all. So that was my deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to check out some other stuff.